Hello guys, it's Noadasi here, and for the first time you can hear my voice and figure out that I got some horrible French accent. Anyway, I'll bring you something special today. Script Max requested me to do some tutorial in the last video, so I thought that, well, I got some time. Okay, I will do some tutorials. It can help you, but it's more for professional work. Those of you who don't know 3D a little, you may don't want to see this video because you don't have the need that this guy has. Anyway, it's the first time that I record my voice, so I hope you will find that the setup is not awful, but I think my microphone is very bad. Anyway, so let's start with this box here. I'm in 3ds Max, and basically I will show you the texturing work into this model. Because I think, you know, box are cool, and I don't need some very complicated models to show you what I need to show you now. I'm doing post commentaries on this tutorial because I'm not good at live commentaries, I think, and actually I don't think I'm good in commentaries anyway, but oh well. So this box is at the center of the wall. It's very important. I will show you, yes. And this box is unwrapped. It means that you can put textures on it. The model has been cut to fit the texture. I apologize if you hear me sneezing or sniffing, but I'm a little bit sick, so it happens, you know. Anyway, here we are in the texture editor. I show you this because the texture actually is very, I don't know, it's not very much. The setup is the basic of 3ds Max, and I will travel to 3ds Max to Photoshop in this entire video. So this is the the line that you see is basically my box, but unwrapped, okay? And the blue thing, the blue color is just here to help me seeing those lines. One square that you see is one face of the box, and basically if I paint into those squares, it will be into the model. If I paint outside of the green shape, it will not appear on the model. Anyway, so for this little tutorial, I think we will go with a metal box, like Soulstorm into Dawn of War. I don't know if you play video games, but metal boxes anyway. So yes, I'm searching for a picture right now. I figured that yes, metal box is cool, but I will need some metal for this metal box, and I have some toolbox with pictures inside that help me do some texture basically, and I will import a picture to fit this need, but not this one because it's sand, not this one because I don't care. That's the privilege of doing post commentaries, but oh well. Yes, this picture is the one that I will use. Rusty metal, exactly what I need. So I will import this into my texture work, and I will rescale it because it's far too big right now. So I will rescale it until it fits the image. It's free pictures, by the way, but you know, you can use basically any picture you want on the internet at the conditions that you modify them. This picture is free, but if the guy that created it recognized it in my work, basically I will own it some money. So if you use some pictures that you find on the internet, make sure that you modify them a lot. So anyway, this is the rusty metal that I want to apply to my 3D model, and I think I will modify a little bit this layer. But you know, I was doing live commentaries, but I really thought it was some mistake because I'm not good at that. Anyway, I will lower the saturation a little bit and trying to play with the settings of my adjustment layers here to get a thing that please me, basically. So the color are a little more grayish, and I will try to play with the level to bump a little bit the contrast. But actually, it's I will struggle a little bit, excuse me, to find the setup that I want. So let's see me struggling actually until I find basically what it pleases me the most. So now I'm playing with the red and green and blue channel, but I'm not very convinced. So you know, doing texturing work like that is creative work. There is no mathematic formula or something like that to help you get the most incredible texture. It's just you modify your things, you're trying something, but you figure that it don't work, so you try something else, and basically you figure it that it's better like that. Anyway, so I'm still trying to figure out the contrast of this diffuse map. Maybe I will lower the, yes, I load the brightness a little bit, and now I yes, I'm trying to see what's the difference between the original picture and my adjustment, and I preferred it this way. So I will, I think, save this diffuse map and import it into 3ds Max, where our little box will get a little bit of color. Basically, diffuse map is the color of your texture. Just that, the color. So I will apply it into my texture. So yes, diffuse color. I will search a bitmap and go to the repertoire of my diffuse map, so you can recognize it. Use image on gamma is very important, so yes. And this is what our little box look like. So just the color basically, and you can see, well, there is this is not very good work. It's just here to show you what I need to show basically. So you can see there's the edges are not very smooth, well, but I don't care, it's just here to show you something. And anyway, I will just add a little bit of light, because I will need this. If you don't get light into your scene, basically you can't see the bump or the specular. So I figured that with just an intensity of 1 with this light, I can't really see very much, so I will bump it up a little bit. And yes, that's it. This is our box. And here you can see the edge of this model a little bit. Well, you can see the model has been unwrapped, if you see what I mean. There is no there is a limit in each case, each face. I don't know. Anyway, I will put a camera, because like that I can see easily the view I want. And I will two-side my texture and bump up a little bit the specular level. Yeah, whew. But it's rusty metal, so I don't need more specular levels than 20, I think. Soften is not value that I used very much, but I will maybe use the glossiness. Yes, a little bit. So now that I got this setup, basically I'm free to go into the spec and bump texture. I use the same map for specular and bump texture, but some professional guys that are way less lazy than me and way more, I don't know, experimented maybe, can tell you that it's absolutely awful to use the same map for those channels. But it's the way I do things, and I figured it was well, good looking. So anyway, so basically what I do is I duplicate my diff map, and I will transform it into a spec map. Spec for specular. Specular map is in grayscale. Basically what it's black, there will not be much specular in this area. Where it's white, there will be some specular. And it's the same thing for bump map, you know. It's a grayscale map with some blackish and whitish area, and where it's black, you will well, how should I say that? The bump is to see a little bit of 3D in your texture. So anyway, you will see by yourself. So now, since I told you that it was both of those maps are in grayscale, I take my saturation of this duplicated diffuse map to -100, and now it's pure grayscale. And I will just try this as a specular map, just with the grayscale, nothing more, just to see what it's doing. So I'm going into my specular level. I will import my pictures, And I will do the same thing into my bump level, but you don't need to go and choose your picture again if it's the same. You can basically drag and drop the one that is in the specular level and take it into the bump channel. So I don't really know what I'm doing now. As I said, it's a post-commentary, so maybe I was in the middle of explaining something very important, but oh well. Yeah, you see, drag and drop, way easier. And I will render this to see. Ah, yes, I modified the specular level. If I don't modify the specular level, basically the specular light here are worthless. If your specular map is at 100, the specular light will not be... it will not work, basically. So I like to get a mix of both. Specular level at 50 and the other 50 is in charge of the specular of your map, of your texture, excuse me, your material. Anyway, so I figured that this map, you know, this bump map is not very cool. I will try to bump up a little bit the contrast. And I use the level for that. I'm not afraid to exaggerate a little bit the contrast, because you know, it's it will not be how should I say that, it's not the color that is important here, it's just the blackish and whitish area of the picture. So I will now replace my existing spec map into this model, and you will see that the texture is a little bit more 3D, okay? You can a little bit feel that there is some grain, some relief, I don't know. Even if it's not very good looking, because I use a very small map. It's 800 by 800, so it's not very high quality, but I don't think I need more than that to show you. And anyway, so I don't know what I'm doing now. Well, I will let me think about it. I think, yes, I will add something to my texture. Now, I wanted to show you a little bit more in-depth texturing, because this is very basic. You can of course use the grayscale map for your bump and all, but what if I modify this basic picture? So my goal here was to add something to my texture. I wanted maybe a piece of plastic, or I don't know, some bubble gum. You can choose by yourself. So what I'm doing right now is I'm importing some new picture and use it to my plastic part or bubble gum part, I don't know. So I'm shrinking it, and I will put it on top of my plastic and linked it for with the layer that is under it, basically. So yes, and I will now put a little bit of color for this plastic part, because why not? So I create a new layer, I attached it in to the layer that is under it, and I will make a pink layer, and I will try to see which filter I will use to my layer, which is the best. And yeah, soft light is cool. Soft light is cool. But I will do something else, actually. This is the color of your diffuse map, okay? So I'll merge my part of plastic, and I will show you a little tips, a little trick. By using the layer style of Photoshop, I will add a contact shadow. I will go to auto glow, I will put the blend mode to multiply, and I will choose a dark gray color. And you can see there's a little bit of contact shadow that helps to get a little bit of realistic look. Okay, it's just little tips. I used it on my character that I on the last video that I did. Basically, you can see I used it. Anyway, I'm just playing with the value of size and spread to see which is the most fine. And I will replace my diffuse with this just to see what it looks like. And of course it's not in front of the camera because it will be far too easy, so I will just rotate my box, and because my box has a very bad pivot point, I will modify this affect pivot only and center it to object, and now it's way better. So I will rotate this bad boy and figure that yes, my bubblegum plastic thing is it's here basically. I'm sorry, my English is not very fluid, but I do my best. I hope you apologize. Well, you will. I apologize, I hope you will forgive me. Yeah, I hope you will apologize, guys, because why not? So, the thing is, I got my diffuse, but since I didn't change my specular bump map, you can see my diffuse and spec map are not synchronized. So I will put my plastic thing, and I will duplicate this layer. Well, before that I will just reorganize my PSD to be a little bit more more, well, less messy, we would say. And I will just incorporate my plastic thing into my spec bump map. So I will duplicate this layer, and I will drag and drop it into my spec bump map part. Okay, and I will put it on the top. And the next step is to put it in grayscale. So that's what I do now. Saturation to -100, and I will certainly play a little bit with the levels. or saturation. Well, no, that was a mistake. Yeah. So level, I will bump up the white. Like that, not bad. You can see the difference between the plastic area and the metallic area. That's what is important. It's like when you draw something and it's flat because there isn't enough contrast. It's a little bit of the same thing here. Anyway, I like to work my diffuse map and spec map into the same PSD because it's way easier for me to work. It's more comfortable. And now I will show you what my new spec map do in the texture, and you can see it's way better. The plastic has its own bump part basically. So this is cool. You can see that there is some spline, some edges that are green or white. It's just because my diffuse has the template of the unwrapped model. Excuse me. And so I will just save my texture, and now it's way better without the template. So this is very basic, guys. This is not a very professional looking thing, but it's just to show you how I work basically. Nothing more, nothing less. So I will show you different point of view. You can see little things that my light is a little bit too strong actually. And because my light is very strong, the 3D part of the texture, the bump, is very aggressive. So now it's a little bit better. But still, I will lower the value of the bump just to make it less aggressive and a little bit more realistic. And yes, now it's better basically. So at this point of the tutorial, I was wondering if I just finished it this way, but I was into this thing, you know, and I figured why not push the thing a little bit more far away. And I decided to add another piece into my texture. And why not a piece of tissues? So that's what I will do now. It will be between the plastic part and the metal part. So I take my layer between those plastic and metallic part, and basically what I will do is some very dirty painting. It looks absolutely terrible, but I don't care. It's just to show you. It's not very pretty, but I will just get a little piece of tissues, and that's what it matters the most. So we'll add a little bit more, and I figured that my brush was not hard enough, so I bump the hardness, and I will erase the edge. Better. Way better. So this white part will be our tissue part. And like the plastic part, I will use the little tips that I showed you before. The outer glow with a black or dark gray color in multiply mode to get this contact shadow. And I will scale a little bit the size of this shadow because I want it to be a little more I don't know, detached, contrasted. I don't know. What I do now is I'm searching for my for some pictures of tissues that will work like I did for this plastic part. So here is the tissue pictures. I will just take a little part on it, and believe me, it's large enough. You can see it by yourself. I will rescale the size of this big monster to fit our piece of tissues, like that. And I will link it to the layer below, so it will not do something stupid. And after that, I decided, you know, why use the color of the picture? I will turn this piece of tissue in black and white and add another color on top of it. So this is another layer, and I will choose some color. I don't know which one. I think it's a dark green. Yes, grayish dark green, like that. And I will use some fusion mode, not overlay because it's too bright, not color because it's the same thing, I think. Yes. Soft light, no. I think I used color burn, maybe? I don't know. We will see. Multiply is too dark. Color burn is not bad, but yeah, linear burn is cool actually. I will just play a little bit with the opacity, and that's more like I want it to be. So this result pleases me. And now what I need to do is basically to turn this piece of tissue into my bump spec map. I will show you that like about right now, I think. Yeah, I tried to collapse the layer, but the contact shadow of my piece of tissues was a little bit too affected, so I decided why bother with it, just let it like that. It's not important. My piece is a beast. I can afford to not merge every layer that I need. So anyway, I will duplicate my piece of tissues, and I will put it on my bump part of the PSD. On top of it, I will just hide my diffuse color, and now you can see that it's not the way it should be, so I will put this piece of tissue under my piece of plastic bubblegum thing, and I will, like the other part, turn it to black and white with the saturation at -100, and I will play with the level of this picture to get what I want, basically. I thought this was pretty nice, but I thought that my tissues part and my metallic part was not enough contrasted, so I decided to, yeah, you see the soft shadow, the contact shadow of this piece of tissues is too soft actually, so I decided I decided to bump the dark a little bit to give it more deepness. And that's it. That's my new bump and specular map. So I will replace my old one with this, and I will replace my old diffuse map with this one. And now you will see what it's changed in, how it's changed in the 3D view. So you see how tissue has appeared, and I will render it so you can see, and that's it. So there it is, a little bit of box with bubblegum and tissues green attached to it. It's very basic, guys, very basic, but it's just to show you. It's just to show you how I work, and nothing more actually, because there is some other guys that are way better than me, that use their own techniques that may be more useful or more, I don't know, professional, but I used to work this way. I'm comfortable with this this way of doing texturing. So you may use this technique, you may use another, you may also think about this to get your own way of working for texture, because it's a creative work, you know. There is not a gold path to follow. There is many paths that may lead to some good or bad, I don't even know, some good or bad things, but you just have to figure it by yourself. I'm sorry for my bad English, guys. You know, I want to improve it basically, but I don't get many friends that speak English, or they are just French, so I don't bother speaking English with them. But anyway, I hope you will find me understandable. I don't ask for more, basically. You can find my accent funny, or you know, but I don't care as long as I'm understandable. Anyway, I think I will end this tutorial here, because I think that I showed what Mr. ScriptMax wanted to see. And if you got any question or any request, please feel free to ask. If it can help you, I will gladly show you how I do things. But keep in mind that I'm not maybe the most talented person in the world. I'm just doing things my own way. Anyway, I hope you find this tutorial useful. I hope it will help you in your project, and basically I hope I will see you again. in my next video. I will use a little bit of time that I got to promote myself, even if I don't really like that, but it's necessary. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel for some good content. Please feel free to add a comment or like the video if you find it useful, or maybe ask me something if you didn't understand, because I can understand I'm not very good in English. Anyway, I will see you later, guys. Thank you for watching.